Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I've got a very fun watch to share with you guys today. This is the TIMEX Q, the reissue from 40 years ago. Now this is a very popular watch. It sold out quickly upon its initial release. And then, when it got restocked, after they did another production run, it sold out very quickly again. But this time there were scalpers that were buying multiple because they saw the secondary prices from the first run and how they had jumped up. And so I saw people buying, multiples and trying to sell them for over $400 on the secondary market. And I think that is, I just think that's so stupid. So guys, if you wanted a TIMEX Q, you haven't got one yet, do not pay silly scalper pricing. Don't worry, this will absolutely, it will be restocked from TIMEX. You can buy it for its retail price of $179. And even at that price, I mean, you could argue that it's not even worth $179. Don't hate on me. I'll get into the specifics throughout the review. But I have to say, I do see the appeal. I do see why people, really like this moderately sized vintage inspired watch from TIMEX. So let's get into some specifics. Let me pull this up in front of the camera and talk about the nice elements of the watch. I think the big thing is the size. This is just a hair over 38 millimeters in diameter, and it has a relatively short lug-to-lug length and a nice thin profile, so it works on just a huge number of wrists. I have a little bit larger wrists and I have larger watch preferences when it comes to size. But you guys can see in my 7.25 inch wrist, it looks real sharp. It's nice and proportional. I like the taper of the bracelet. Again, the case, shape here is really cool. I like that pop of blue beneath the Pepsi bezel, that domed acrylic crystal. I mean, the style is there and the size is there. And when you combine that with price, this being sub $200, it's just a recipe for success. So let me cite myself as an example. I remember years ago when I was getting into watches, the thought of spending, $500 on like a Seiko was a big deal. And, I didn't make those types of purchases without a lot of, I guess you could say, research and a little bit of wallet hurt. If I pulled the trigger, it hurt spending $500 on a watch. That was not something that I was used to doing. And I can contrast that with myself now. And this is my most recent purchase, this Nomos Club Sport Neomatic. And I say, hey, $4,000 for that? Heck yeah, that is a steal of a watch. And I feel that way, but it's kind of funny looking at perspective, right? From years ago, not even wanting to spend $500 on a watch to now spending thousands and thinking that I'm getting a steal. You guys can see the longer that you're in the hobby, and possibly, if your discretionary income for luxury things like watches increases, you can kind of become desensitized to price. And so when a watch brand like TIMEX, which has some fun history, comes out with a watch that's affordable, it's good looking, it's not anything that's crazy or logically significant, right? It's an inexpensive quartz piece. But when they come out and it's sub $200, you think, oh my goodness, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to buy one of those. And if I was back at my starting point from years ago, I'd look at this and I'd say, yeah, I can do $180. I think I'm getting a lot for my money. So, you look at the pricing, you look at the market, you look at what you're getting, definitely I can see the appeal. Now, I'm not trying to hype this watch up and tell you that it's the greatest watch that you can buy under $200, anything like that, but absolutely not. It definitely has its negative aspects. Let's talk about those. The movement here is a Seiko made quartz movement. They retail for about $9. So they're very inexpensive, and they're not going to be, the higher grade quartz movements that Seiko is very well known for, like the 7C or their Grand Seiko calibers. It's not going to carry that. Even if you look at where the seconds hand hits each of the 60 marks on the dial, there's only about 20 that hit it spot on. The other 40 are a little off, and some of those 40 are very off. And you can see around the 50 position, you get a little bit of the wobble, the back play to the second sand. So make no mistake, it's not a high quality Seiko movement, but it's inexpensive. And here's the thing, I like the fact that Timex went with Seiko, because I've owned Timex watches that have their own quartz movements, and you know what, they're kind of crappy. I had my last one pooped out after 6 months. I changed the battery and even that wouldn't get the watch going. So it went in the trash can. It was not worth trying to salvage or buy another expensive Timex movement. And those Timex movements are very loud. You can hear them from a few feet away ticking. This Seiko, like I said, it's nothing crazy, but it's nice and reliable. It's quiet, it's accurate. And even though the marks don't hit, the second hand doesn't hit the marks perfectly, I think it was a good choice from Timex. Now I know not everyone will agree with me here. I think there's gonna be some people that feel, hey, Timex should have gone with the Seagull, make a mechanical movement like they did with the Marlin. That would have been so much better. I don't think that's the case. I think if they would have came out with this with a Chinese made very, very small movement with a huge plastic spacer, there'd be a bunch of haters, probably the same people going, they should have done a Seiko quartz movement. So you're not gonna please everybody, Timex. I think it was a good choice for going with the Seiko made quartz movement that has the porthole opening that you can twist open with a nickel. You can take a coin, you can change the battery yourself without having to take the entire case back off. I think they've done a great job with this. Now, again, there's some, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing on this, but the bracelet here, I think is fine. I like the design, I like the flex, I like the finishing, I like how adjustable it is. This thing slides very easily up and down, and to get capture here, you just hook that in, press this down. It's got a nice loud reassuring click, and so you're going to be able to get a good fit. I think it matches the look of the watch very well, but just be aware, it is kind of a hair puller, at least initially. So if you buy this, you might spend the first few days of ownership with the occasional pinch or pull of your hair, and then after you kind of break it in and your stray hairs get pulled out, then it's going to be comfortable. But keep in mind, it is a hair puller. It's not the best Seiko made quartz movement. It does not have a sapphire crystal or anything like that. This is an acrylic crystal. The bezel is bi-directional sliding. It's a little bit loose. If you look down at your wrist to gauge the time throughout the day randomly, you might see it a little bit out of alignment. So make no mistake, hyping this watch up, it does have its negative elements, but for the price, I definitely see the appeal. And you look at, what else can you buy sub $200? You're probably looking at G-Shock. I think they're the kings of that price category, but not everybody wants a resin digital kind of large watch that's kind of ugly and chunky, right? I like them, but not everybody does. What are you looking at when it comes to mechanical watches? You're looking at Vostok. You can get a well-made Russian mechanical watch for under $180, and that's certainly a good option. Or you're looking at entry-level Orient, possibly some Seiko Sports, but there's not a clear-cut, hey, this is the best watch under $200. I just think this one is a good addition to your choice options, to the consumer options here, the market. I think it's pretty fun for 200 bucks or less. So that being said, this watch was lent in by my good friend Homer, who has lent in a ton of watches over the years. He's an awesome guy, and he is putting this up for sale. It's in like new condition, has the box and everything, and he is awesome because he is not a price scalper. So if anyone wants to purchase this exact watch that I'm featuring here in the video, reach out to me. Homer will accept $200. You can pay him directly. I, who have the watch, I'll ship it to you directly. And if you're not interested in that, just be patient, because again, it will come back into stock. And I have a feeling, let me pull this Marlin up here real quick. The Seiko Marlin, this came out, it was received very well. They did multiple production runs, they did other colors, and then they did a larger version that they that they came out with, because again, not everybody likes 34mm watches. I could see something similar happening with the TIMEX Q, because at least from my perspective, this is far more popular than the Marlin was as a release. So I could see them coming out with multiple color options with this, possibly even a larger version that has a mechanical movement. I mean, you never know, right? What Timex is gonna do, but they have themselves a hit on their hands. It's a fun watch. Does it have flaws? Yes. I hope I wasn't overly negative. I'm really trying to be level-headed with this. I don't hate the watch. I like the watch. I think it's a good addition at the price point, but definitely not at scalper pricing. Do not feed the trolls. Please, my friends, do not feed the trolls. So again, let me know if you have questions. Thanks for taking the time to watch and check out this cool little TIMEX Q Reissue from 1979. If anybody, again, wants to buy it, let me know. $200. And look in the description. My email's in the description. I'll update it when it sells. Do not reach out to me after it sells and I mark it as sold, because it will not be available and I do not have access to more at that price. Just keep your eye on the TIMEX website. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next video.